Hello. It's warmer than it needs to be. Sorry about last week. Life got very busy and I didn't achieve very much at all. So I was taping together that pattern, and taping together that pattern took me about a week to get around to doing all of it. It's 56 A4 pages for this pattern, and there is a place near me that will print on the AO size, which is huge, and a lot of pattern designers will let you download that size to get it printed on a big piece of paper so you don't have to tape it together. But the place nearest me charges $11 a sheet, so I tape my patterns together out of pure spite. This is what I've been making though. This is not a dress, this is a toile, so let's talk about it. I've got a shot of me standing around in it so you can have a look at it full length. It's not a complete piece because I haven't done the hem, but we'll talk about that in a second as well. So a toile is just any pattern made out of cheap fabric. So this is all stash fabric. The grey I was going to make trousers out of, but I don't love the pattern, so I've just been ignoring it. And the yellow is bedsheet. And the purpose of making one of these is to make sure that you have a piece that's going to fit you. You can make any adjustments that you need to make on the actual garment and then transfer those to the pattern, because it's a little bit easier for a lot of people, me especially because it's all about me. If you make an adjustment on the pattern, it can be a little bit hard to sort of visualize how that's going to work, but if you make it on the garment, you can see how it's going to work and then transfer it to the pattern. So normally when I make a toile, I make just the bodice because of my body shape, which is apple. I don't have a waistline, I don't go in at the waist. I have a waist, I can do that. If you need me to do that, I'm all over it. But I don't go in at the waist because I'm apple shaped. So if I was going to make fitted clothing, which I'm not going to do because I wouldn't wear it, I don't like fitted clothing, I like loosey-goosey stuff. I would need 3 different pattern sizes. I would need a pattern size for my hips, one for my waist, one for my chest. And it's possible to do that. I'm never going to do it. It takes a long time. I can't be bothered, and I don't like fitted clothing, so why would I waste my time? So because I like the loosey-goosey stuff, basically what I need to do is check that the bodice fits, because if the bodice will fit, the skirt will fit. Now there's a few things, when you're attaching a bodice to a skirt like this, there are 2 ways you can do that incorrectly. You can do it inside out, and you can do it back to front. I have done both. This is both inside out and back to front. So because it's just a toile, I don't really, I'm not worried, because I can check the fit even when it's on backwards. So this is inside out. This facing, this facing doesn't want to, I'll show you the other side of the facing because that side doesn't want to show. So this facing, which is just a strip of fabric that sits around on the inside of the neckline, should be on the inside of the garment, but oops. I also haven't hemmed the sleeves, but that's irrelevant. So why did I make a full toile this time round? Because I wanted to check pocket placement, and pocket placement is down here. Where are they? There they is. So there's the pocket. A lot of the reviews mentioned that the pocket is too low, and it is. It's too low for me. I can get sort of maybe half my hand in, but I can't, unless I walk around like that. But I don't really want to do that. It's not good for my back. So I will lift the pockets up when I make this properly. The other thing is style arc instructions are interesting and brief, generally brief, sometimes very detailed, generally brief. Now for this one, it's not that much of an issue, because although it's like an interesting shape and everything, all of that is achieved with the panel shapes. You're not doing any pleats, you're not doing any tucks. There's no sort of difficult techniques in this dress. It is just sewing seams. So the instructions are very brief, and that's fine. The instructions for the hemband, I have the hemband, 1 second, it's in here, because it is not attached to the garment. So the instructions for the hemband say to assemble the hemband, which I have done. You see I've got a whole band. And then the next step is doing the sleeve hems, and then they say you're finished. They don't tell you what to do with this. So logically, I would sew it on like a hemband, which would be to sew it, where's the edge? Where's the end of my skirt? Which would be to put the raw edges together. Is that the raw edges? Yep. Sew that around and then flip that band that way so that it conceals the edge and gives a nice finish. This is too small, and that might be because they want the dress more gathered in, but I don't particularly want the dress more gathered in, so I'm going to decide what to do about the hemband. The instructions for the hemband I think are also incorrect, because if you follow them you end up with an external seam like that. See, there's a seam on both sides there, so at some point that would be on the outside of the garment, which I don't love. So I'm going to decide what to do about the hemband, because it's not quite right in my opinion. In my opinion, having not designed this pattern or ever made it before, this hemband is not correct. It might be that this is supposed to be longer, because style arc patterns, I find the little incidental bits like hembands, and the neck facing in this case was too big, hemband too small. And I often find with style arc patterns, especially in the plus sizes, the grading is not generally brilliant. Oh, it is generally brilliant, but sometimes there's a little quirk in the grading where things are not quite the right size. One of the dresses I made had a neck binding that was sort of sitting at there because it was too short. So these are the things that are easy enough to fix, just need a little bit of a tweak. But I do find it's pretty common with the style arc patterns in the larger sizes that these incidental pieces are not quite the right size. So this is a successful toile in that I know that I like the dress, I'm going to make the dress, and I will wear the dress, except I will put the bodice on the right way around. However, because it's me, there's a bit of a problem. Because the fabric that I want to use, I don't think is going to work for this dress. Let me throw that casually over my shoulder, because I've been talking about my really good fabric and I haven't shown it to you. It's in a bag, hang on. Let me just get my really good fabric out. It's really good. Oops, oops, it's all gone wrong. Here we go. So this is my really good fabric. Let me show you the right side of that. There we go. So isn't that gorgeous? That's upside down. Oh, it might be the right way up. It's hard to say. So here's my problem with this fabric. It's not a problem, but there is a problem with this fabric and this dress potentially, because this has a lot of seams. This is, the skirt for this one is 6 panels. So when you have that many seams, what you want to try and do is avoid cutting into the actual design on the fabric. So by that I mean I would want my seam lines to come down in the plain areas and not cut my flowers in half so that I don't have flowers disappearing into seams, because it would be really obvious if I cut down there and had that half of a flower that then went in, it would be really obvious and look a bit rubbish. So with this little tiny busy fabric here, because this is a small busy pattern, I'm trying to unfold it, it's not going well. There we go. So if I show you a seam there, you can see that there's no pattern matching on that, but it's okay because it's a small, busy, pale pattern. Doesn't matter, from a distance can't tell. And even up close you'd want to be looking. But with big, bold bits of flower like this, if I cut down there and then have that half showing and that half missing, it's going to be really obvious. Now, the way I would get around that is with fussy cutting, which is a technique. Technique's a strong word, but that's basically just moving your pattern pieces around on your fabric until you get flowers where you want them. So for example, if I had a fabric that was big sunflowers, I might fussy cut it so that it doesn't end up sort of, you know, there. So I don't know that this is going to work, but I really love this fabric. So I might try and find another dress pattern that has fewer seams so that I don't need to worry so much about fussy cutting, because I have the exact right amount of fabric to make this dress, but not with fussy cutting. So I don't know. And it's also a little bit soft perhaps for the structure. I don't know. So I will be making this dress again, but properly, and, you know, not putting on the bodice inside out. And I will be using this for something because I do love this fabric and it's been looking at me for a long time waiting to be used up. So that is where I am at with the sewing adventures. I've got a toile, I've got some fabric that's probably not going to work for this dress. It might work. I might mark the pattern out with chalk and see what I can cut. I don't know. There is other fabric available, you know, on the internet and stuff. But as I said before, it's a little expensive. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with this. We'll see what happens with this. And I will show you something new next week. I feel like the steam ran out a little bit at the end there. So I'm going to go. You have a lovely rest of your week. Take care of yourself. And I will see you soon. Bye for now.